Hey, fabulous people. This is Elise Tager, and it is Training Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and I do a Facebook Live every Wednesday. That is some kind of training or coaching that I think will help any of the entrepreneurs or solopreneurs that are in the group. And I usually, hey, Deborah, thank you for joining me this morning. How are you? I usually base these topics on feedback you've given me either in the group or when you join. So that's how I pick topics. As always, if you have things you'd like to be coached on, you'd like to hear more about, any topic in particular that you'd like me to dig into, us to dig into, because this is dialogue, not monologue, please put it in the comments. And or anytime in the Facebook group, just give me a hi-ho and say, hey, I'd love to know more about fill in the blank. One of the things that I'm starting to do, which I'm really excited about, is to share my resources with you, other women entrepreneurs who've been very impactful to my business. I'm going to start doing Facebook Lives that are not trainings, more conversations. So next week we have Nikki Roush, who is Your Sales Maven is the name of her website, and she is a sales training coach that I just think is extraordinary. And so Nikki and I will be on next Wednesday. Please don't miss that. She's so great. In fact, she has 2 or 3 books, all of which I recommend highly. And then on the 30th, we have Tracy Lee Davis joining us. Tracy Lee is a specialist in both email marketing and social media marketing. And we're going to focus on one or the other. In fact, I'm going to ask you in a poll tomorrow to tell me which area you'd like her to focus on. She has a membership site that I adore. I'm a part of. And I have learned so much, not just about social media, because I'm pretty well versed in it, but more how to make it work for my business. What's a time waster and what's not. So she is fabulous. So you have that to look forward to, so you don't have to just listen to me talk. But as I say, I hope these are valuable to you. I hope these trainings are valuable to you, and give me feedback both on whether it was or wasn't, and then what other topics you want to be hearing about. So Deborah, since I got you, tell me how you feel about networking. And there's a delay, Deborah, so I won't be able to respond right away. But anybody who's either joining me live or on the replay, because I'm hoping people come back and listen, I would love to know how you feel about networking. I have mixed feelings about it, but it's an important part of our marketing strategy and our visibility strategy. So let me get started with what I've planned to tell you about today as far as networking goes. First, let me introduce myself if you don't know me. I'm Elise Tager. I'm a business coach to ambitious entrepreneurs and the creator of the Solo to CEO program. And you'll hear more about that a little later in the month when I do a relaunch of that program. I also want to remind you that I'm here every Wednesday at noon, as I said, and I'd love to have you join me any Wednesday. And would love, as I said, to have you give me feedback on topics you'd like to hear about. Third thing, she said, plugging herself a little bit, I would love to have you help me bring more women entrepreneurs into the group. The more robust the group gets, the more conversation happens. A group is only as good as its conversation. So if you have people that you would like to invite, please do. I'd love to have them come, get to know them, make the group more robust, and would appreciate any help you can give me. So there you go. So let me get started now on the networking topic. Networking events can be fabulous for your business, or they can be a complete waste of time. Maybe not complete, but a big waste of time. I'm sure we've all been to networking events where you either walk in the door and know right away this was a mistake, or halfway through it, you look around the room and you say, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why have I spent the time? So I want to talk about how to make networking worthwhile, so you don't have those incidents where you look around the room and say, why am I here? You need to have a plan, and you need to have some tools under your belt. So that's what I'm going to give you. Deborah says, I think the right networking is important. You mentioned in one training to evaluate time involved versus value. Yeah, and I'll talk about that again. That helped me a lot when critiquing invitations. Deborah, that's a great point. Let me address that a little bit later because that's so important. Well, was my first point here. Network, where to network, make it count. If you are in the early stages of your business and or if you've just moved to a new community, it might be that you go to any networking event that sounds even vaguely like it's worth, like it might contain your target audience there. Let me step back. First of all, know who your target audience is. Know who you want to be bringing in as clients. Know who your client avatar is. Know who your referral partners might be. Get a good sense of who it is that you want to be mingling with before you start signing up for networking events. So be discerning in where you decide you want to network. I know that I've cut down my networking way because there were too many times where I was rubbing elbows with interesting people, but they weren't interesting as far as building my business was concerned, either as referrals or as potential clients. So be discerning when you say yes to going to a networking event. Remember, as I said, Deborah, and you mentioned this too, they can be time sucks, or that you are spending time, right? So you're going to be signing up for the event, you're going to be driving or taking public transportation to where it is. You're going to be in the event for an hour to an hour and a half, and you're going to be getting back to your office. That's a big chunk of time. And so you want to make sure that it is a good use of time. Otherwise, you could be doing something else that's more valuable for you. Another thing, make a count. Make sure you're discerning in where you decide to network. Another thing I want you to think about is, should you spend money on networking? Deborah, I don't know how you feel about that, but there are two ways to think about this. One is, if you're spending money to attend an event, certainly you'll get food and beverage to go with that. That's what you're paying for, and the room. But the higher your price, typically the higher quality of attendee there is. So there aren't too many tire kickers at an expensive event. Anything that's free, you want to think carefully about, again, whether that's going to be worth your time. If that's totally your target audience that you know will be showing up there, that's great. On the other hand, you know, if they haven't plunked down even $10, does that say something about the quality of lead that you might find there, or the quality of people that you'll be interacting with? Think carefully too about those events that are in the multiple hundreds of dollars. Again, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Again, it depends upon what your objectives are. They can be great for finding just that high tier level of women that you want to interact with, that you want to become comfortable within, or they can be a lot of money out the door. So again, be discerning about whether or not you spend money on networking events. One of the advice I've given earlier, which I want to repeat again, is I think it's important to focus on one or two associations or groups whose events you attend consistently. So whether that's NAWBO or a local networking group or a BNI, or BNI you have to go to. But if you're going to really create good relationships, you need to show up consistently. You need to show up so that people begin to recognize you and want to know more about you. So pick one or two. I know that I've focused on two now whose meetings I go to almost every month, if not every other month. So that I have familiar faces, they're familiar with me, they're more comfortable with providing referrals. I can provide referrals for them. It's just a deeper engagement. On the other hand, it's easy to get stuck in a rut. And so once you've decided on what those consistent networking opportunities might be for you, you might want to also sprinkle a few outside the box opportunities for you. Again, be discerning, but you might find that a group of, for me, I might attend a group of CPAs. Now, I don't focus just on CPAs as clients, but on the other hand, there might be a lot of women in the room who are entrepreneurs that might fit into exactly the kind of woman that I want to be targeting. So while I might not have been looking for a CPA audience, that might be a great opportunity. So keep your ears open and your eyes open. Use Eventbrite, use all the online meeting, searching tools that you can, meet up to find groups that you might want to start experimenting with. So you've got a solid group of people, you've got networking events you go to, and then you've got some experimental ones too. Have a strategy. This is probably my biggest point. Have a strategy when you go to a networking event. And I love the strategy that Nikki Rausch talks about. Again, she'll probably touch on this next week, but she calls it the 1-2-3 strategy, or the 3-2-1 strategy. And that is, she decides that she's going to meet at least 3 new people at whatever networking event she's going to, which means she's got to be circulating, she's got to be meeting new people, and be brave enough to walk up to a stranger and say, "Hi, I'm Nikki Rausch. Hi, I'm Elise Tager," and introduce yourself and meet new people. So that's 3 people that'll keep her circulating. And there have been a lot of earthquakes lately, so I just felt something, sorry. A lot of people that she'll have to be circulating and meet 3 new people. 2 people, she wants to engage more deeply with people she already knows, 2 of them. So again, that's an opportunity for you to be developing a better relationship, a deeper relationship with someone who already knows you. Again, it's one of the reasons we go to networking events is not just to look for leads and prospects, but to deepen relationships with people we already have. The 1 is find 1 person that you want to follow up with, right? They might not be a hot lead. They might be a hot lead. They might be someone who has asked to learn more about you. They might be someone you want to learn more about. It might be a potential referral opportunity. Who knows why? But just make up your mind that you're going to walk out the door with at least 1 good, solid someone that you want to follow up with. That says that you're not going to collect business cards and follow up with all 20 cards that you just collected. So the strategy there is 3 new people that's going to keep you circulating, that's going to keep you expanding your network. 2 people to that you already know, more deeply engage with them. And 1 person, just 1, that you're going to follow up with out the door. If it's 5 people, great, but challenge yourself to find 1 person that you're going to follow up with. So that's the 3-2-1 strategy, which I really like. I've also been at big conferences where I didn't know anybody. And I mean anybody. And I went in with the mindset that I was going to make 3 new biz besties friends. You know, I was going to find 3 people that I could really connect with while I was there. I didn't want to meet everybody in this 2,000 person conference. I wanted to find 3 people that I could make a connection with. And I got to choose them by who knows what. You know, I met, and this is funny, one of my most favorite clients I met at a big conference, and she walked up to me because of my hair coloring. She liked my hair. And I walked up to her later and complimented her on her very fabulous dress that she was wearing. So we connected on fashion relationship. She turned into a wonderful client. So you never know what's going to happen, but if you have the intention of making a friend, a good business friend, a BFF, that can be a way to make productive those huge conferences where you just feel like you're in a sea of people. So that's another strategy. Compliments can get you started. Yeah, the 3-2-1 strategy. Thank you, Deborah. I like that one too. Okay, a couple things you know about networking, how to have an elevator speech, right? We all know what that is. That means that you can, in 2 or 3 sentences, say who you are, what you do, and who you provide value for, and what that value is, right? Quick, crisp. But the other thing you want to add to that is, I'm so-and-so, here's what I do, here's who I do it for, and here's the value that I provide for them. That's your elevator speech. But also say, and here's a good referral partner for me, or here's someone that you could refer to me, or here's the kind of person that I want to be connecting with. So you're planting a seed with people about who, if they meet someone that night, come on, bring them over to talk to Elise. She focuses on solopreneurs. So her strategies, her business coaching all revolves around the solopreneur. So if you happen to meet someone else who's a solopreneur, bring her over. She'd like to meet Elise. It helps you. It also helps the person you're talking to find a way to connect with other people in the room. So yeah, have a strategy for a good referral. So I have narrowed down my networking a lot. Now I've been in business for a long time, and I know my area well. Geographically, I know my area well, so I know where I do or do not want to be spending my time. However, I do make a point of once every 2 or 3 months exploring a new area, a new group, a new association, just to see if they might be a good connection for me. So, last thought. If you are an introvert, I don't know how many of you listening are introverts, networking can be really, really painful. And so I have a guide that I've put together that I think offers some good guidance on how to do some networking really well. In the notes above the video, once I save it, you'll see it. There's a Solo to CEO networking guide, which gives you some ideas on conversation starters. Again, this is not just for people who have problems with this, but it's just a good guide for ideas for how to do some networking, what to do when you're in a networking situation. The link to download the guide is above. Again, if you're an introvert, there's some great ideas on how to start conversation, how to sparkle when you're creating conversation. It can be really hard for some people, but I think if you have 2 or 3 ideas on where to start the conversation, you can get over your fear of opening your mouth and talking to strangers. Another thing is, couple of things I want to invite you to. If you're a solopreneur and you don't feel like you're the CEO of your business and you would like some help with that, I would love to help you. Again, I work with a lot of women solopreneurs who have been in business for a while, for perhaps a year, and they have reached that point in their business where their business is humming. They've got business, they've got a business model under their belt, but they're tearing their hair, right? It's just them. They're doing everything from buying printer paper to servicing clients to finding new clients. You get to a point where you have got to get out of that solopreneur model. Many women don't know how to do that. So if I can help you with the steps to get yourself out of being a solopreneur to become the CEO of a growing business, I would love to do that. So there's a link above that you can click on to schedule a call with me. And we can have half an hour, we can discuss your business. Let me just get a feel for what it is that you're grappling with right now, and I can make some suggestions about how we can work together. Second thing is the networking guide. There's a link above. If you think, do download it, because whether or not you have trouble with networking, there's some good ideas in there that'll help you with your next events. And then lastly, I know that Deborah, you are, and anybody who is in this group, if you're not a member of the Solopreneur to Entrepreneur group, please join. There's a link there for how to join. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and people there who look at this video might not be. So I just want to put the link there so they can see it. That is all the thoughts I had today. So Deborah, you say we are definitely on the same line of thinking. We taught a class on elevator speeches and networking last week. It must be in the air. So, Deborah, do you have, there's a delay between when I see you and when see your comment and when I can respond to it, but do you have any comments you'd like to make on networking advice or networking comments or anything I missed that you think would be valuable to people who are seeing this later? Again, networking, it takes discernment, it takes a strategy. I also find that if you're not an introvert, if you're an extrovert, you can get stuck talking to the people you already know. And that's another thing that can happen. That's the thing I see happening that disturbs me, because you walk into a group, you might walk in with a group, right? You might be a part of a group that went to this event together, and you stick together. And so the rule should be, once you get in there, wave goodbye to your biz besties and go make a point of circulating to find those 3 new people that you want to meet. And again, don't be afraid of commenting on someone's hair or brooch or something just to get the conversation going. I think, and Deborah, you say, I think the best thing to do is to go in and prepared. I do too. at least so that your mindset is clear that you have a strategy and you're not just going in blind. So if there's nothing else that anyone wants to offer, and Deborah, if you have no more comments, I'm going to call it quits today. I try to keep these to 15 to 20 minutes. Come see next week. I can't wait to introduce you to Nikki Roush. She'll have a lot of great things to say. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much. Deborah, thank you for showing up today. I really appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed the little earthquake we had. So thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.